So today I was intending to make a video about Vision Strikers. They're not called Vision Strikers anymore, but they're Vision Strikers in my heart at least. I was going to make a video about them, but then I actually just happened to turn on the Valorant Twitch channel and saw this match going on, and this match just happened today. And I saw that one of the teams, Desperado, were running a triple Duelist comp on Bind. And I was instantly like, well, this has to be interesting enough to make a video about straight away. It also has Neon in there, which is quite interesting. And we saw some interesting Neon plays if you want to go back and watch this map. But yeah, I just thought, well, we have to make a video about this overall. They do end up losing the match, but there were some interesting things. And we're just going to talk generally about what they did and what I kind of didn't like as much, and talk about, you know, why their team comp and the way that they played their team comp maybe didn't quite fit exactly how I might have played with their team comp, or tried to play with their team comp. But first, before we look at that, and we're mainly going to focus on their attack side, because of course when you're running triple Duelist, the idea is that, you know, you're going to win a lot of attack rounds. So we're going to take a look at that, and potentially, you know, some of the things that they did well and some things that maybe didn't go quite as well or could have gone a bit different. But first we need to show you round 12, because this is just a crazy round of Bind, and I really liked it. So Desperado on the defense, OnSla2ers are on the attack here. They have a much more normal comp, although they're running double Duelist themselves, but it is more normal in general. So let's take a look at what's going on. So we're just a couple seconds into the round, and it's the last round, as I mentioned. And what we've got is a group up, as you can see, towards Shower, and just the Astra towards Short. So this is going to be an A hit. Now, they just got Sky, the orb here, so that she's got her ult. And so let's see what happens. So they are going to Sky ult, as you can about to see, and what that's going to do is just give them enough space to get this Viper ult out as well. And this Viper ult is just going to give them just enough space to try and get that. Now the Jet gets the kill there on the Astra at the same time, but the idea, of course, is they have this Viper ult, they have just enough space to plant, and then they're just going to play in that and use that to their advantage. But as you can see, this Neon ult is just spamming the entrance to the door, and the shots coming from elsewhere as well. So eventually what's going to happen here, as you can start to already see, is they're going to make this journey back across and just leave the Viper here with the Viper Spit. And in fact, we could probably watch this on the map version because it's probably a bit better. But as that's happening, or about to happen, the Sky here, you know, has made some progress. You know, the Sky kind of feels like, okay, you know, we know there's a lot of things going on in this B shower area. We've also killed the Astra, so there's probably space here to take, and that space has been taken. And as you can see now, the OnSla2ers players start to come across and start to think about it. But they also ping where, you know, could be here, you know, could be in these areas, be careful. They do run, but the Sky obviously notes that. And as you can see, as that's happening and the Sky is hearing that and relaying that information, across come these players as well. You know, always a good thing to do, to be in these situations in case you can get to a rotate, because that means that this is going to happen. But what we are also going to see is, normally in this position you'd expect one free kill, but Bazzy is on it and recognizes that kill. And now you have to think about the thought process of what's gone on. That Sky was there, and you can assume that Sky was there for a whole time. And we also, if I come to the map, got a teleport as well when that kill happened, which is completely normal. But they know, well, they probably knew that we were rotating for quite a while already. So what they're going to do, instead of pushing the site where they expect, you know, they already know there's one teleported, they're just going to teleport themselves and come back across. And this is why leaving this Viper here, of course, made a lot of sense, because now it's the Viper Spit is still up, and now you know that the majority of the rest of the team are rotating. We get Gold actually gets one, also somehow gets the raise as well whilst ulting, and that could have been very bad had they killed the spike plant there. Might have won the round. Might not have been enough time to actually get the spike down after that. But in this situation, of course, very difficult to try and, you know, stop this in any way. You know, as soon as you tap the spike, you're kind of done. We obviously have the old Viper with the Viper mollies as well. I mean, you've got the toxic screen up here also. Like, this is just a pretty impossible situation to try and deal with. And although they do trade out the Jet there, eventually King, after some skirmishing here, is going to find the kill on the Raze, on the Jet, who has to reload, so that tells him that he's not on the spike. And eventually King gets the kill and wins the round. But now let's look at Desperado's attack, and this is the pistol round, and we're going to take a look at a couple different rounds. But this was their default look. This was their default setup. The Jet was manning short here from either side, the Neon, and I quite like this to be honest, the Neon would quickly like run over here, and that means that, you know, we would sometimes see like an op or a marshal in here that would look down this way, not knowing that someone had crossed all the way, which I actually thought was quite clever and quite a good use of Neon, to be honest, because that means if anyone pushes down here, you know, they probably aren't expecting, if they haven't seen anyone cross the whole time, you know, they're probably expecting, well, there can't be anyone there. So that would have been a free kill. They didn't push out, unfortunately, or at least they didn't when they defaulted. And so, you know, we didn't get to see that, but it was a nice idea. And then we had the Sky and the Rays, who were kind of tasked with taking hooker control. And between these two agents, you know, you have that boombot that kind of does all of this thing and clears all of hooker. And you also have a dog. Like, you know, these are two very good agents for trying to get into this space. And so they were pretty successful at that. And then generally the Astra would hold long here as well. So that's generally what they were trying to do, or at least how they started to set up. And let's see how it goes for them. So as we move this pistol round forward to the first kill, you can see that they just got the first kill there, which was this long-range battle from the Neon to the Viper over here. You can see that the Rays and Sky had successfully managed to flush out this. The Astra is still watching and is just about to make their way back across over as well. And the rest of the team is grouped up in short and ready to make that push onto it. So let's take a look from here after they just got the first kill of how it goes. So they can see that another one is on site. They trade a couple of shots back and forth, and in they go, right? In goes the Neon, and this Neon is able to get all the way up into this cloud, this smoke, I should say, and gets the kill on Zumba as well, you know, not expecting someone to be there. They get aggressive with the Jet, obviously this triple duelist comp kind of paying off, and eventually they get a trade there. And eventually we end up in this 4v1 that turns into a 3v1, but as we can see, the Rays has managed to wrap all the way around using that hooker control, and after some whiffing, eventually is able to get the kill with the help of the dog as well, and they are able to win the pistol. So that hooker control paid off, right? They got control of it, and eventually were able to sneak all the way around the back, and that worked out pretty well for them. And then in we come to the second round, and this one is pretty fun because our Neon here on Secret has brought a judge, an attacking judge on the second round, and I thought that that was almost noteworthy in itself, and let's see how they use it. So the Neon is going to go with the Sky here, as you can see, follow the dog, they see someone's there, you get the running, you get the jumping, the Sky actually gets one kill, but with the just running judge, Secret is able to get a second kill, and I just thought that was very, very fun indeed. And then as we continue to play this forward, we'll be able to see, particularly on the map here, that this Neon is just able to get all the way into spawn very, very quickly. This is probably the fastest anyone's ever been in the spawn of a map ever, to be honest. And they send a flash there, and then no one's here as well. There is going to be, you know, some you know, panicking here going on from Secret a bit. You know, not hitting that shot straight away. You know, having to use utility to, you know, kind of, yeah, a bit of panic moment going on, but eventually they are going to win this round, as we see the big flank there, but Gold spots it out. And at this point, it was pretty much round over. You know, they'd spotted the flank, they pretty much knew where they all were, and so it was only ever going to go one way with not having guns. But I thought that, and eventually they did get the judge kill their Secret for another one, which I just kind of liked the Neon play and thought, you know, it was probably worth seeing. And now let's come to round 3. And in this round, you know, they're on their bonus. They don't have the better guns. They decide, screw the whole default thing. Let's just go as a group and use what our comp should be pretty good at, right? Which is just exploding onto site. We have 3 duelists. We should be good at just absolutely, you know, getting in on there with our Sky. Our Sky can initiate for us, and the duelists just get in there and get in people's faces with Spectres, with judges. It should actually go pretty well. And that is exactly what is going to happen. So they follow the dog up, which doesn't get shot, and I don't quite know why, but the Jet dashes in, creates that space. Others start following in afterwards. The Jet, you know, just running, gets a kill. They get a trade of one more. Okay, they actually die there, but whilst that's going on, the Jet managed to get another kill on site, and this is what it was all about for them, right? Just exploding onto site. They have, you know, the triple duelist, so that shouldn't have been very difficult for them. Eventually, we end up in this 2v2, but the Neon is going to able to get that kill on Zumba here, and then, you know, in a 2v1, difficult situation for this race, particularly only with 45 health. As we skip it forward, you can see they begin to defuse. As they get flashed, they die to the Neon. And so, you know, that's what this comp should be good at, right? You have 3 duelists, so one can explode on, and then the second one can explode to a different area and just create absolute chaos for, you know, the defenders on that site. You know, where do you look? Where do you shoot? That's basically what they, you know, ideally, I think what they should have tried to do with this comp, but we're going to see, you know, some difficulties that they had. And for those difficulties, we're going to look at round 17. And as I said, pretty much the same setup, right? And they did this multiple times with the Jet in the sky over there towards Hooker, the Jet in here, the Neon has already managed to get into this position, and the Astra is here guarding Long as well. And as we actually look at the normal view here, you can see what I was talking about, where you have this you have this op that's aimed over here, but the Neon is actually already over here. So they had no idea that someone had managed to actually get over there. So you can imagine that if this op player wanted to get a bit greedy and keep going forward, that there might have been a free kill from the Neon here. Just over there. So that's why this was a pretty cool idea. I thought in general, you could see that, no idea even, not even entertain the possibility that the Neon could be over here. This op is completely trained on that side. So even if the Neon, had come up and walked here, that might have also caused a bit of a surprise and caused a bit of a chance for a kill as well. So there's the dog and Hooker, and again, as you can see, getting that Hooker space, as I mentioned, those two agents, Raze and Sky, probably like the best agents for doing that, or certainly definitely up there. And so they get it with no problem. So the Raze ends up in this position, and this is something they were doing commonly. Just let the Raze just sit in there for a while whilst we decide whatever else we're going to do. We have Hooker control now, so let's see what else we want to do with this. And eventually what they are going to decide, it's already starting to happen, is the Sky and the Astra are going to come back here towards A, and they're going to try and make this an A execute. Obviously, they've already made some presence towards B with the dog and whatnot, and getting right into Hooker. So you can see that now, finally, the rotation here from the other team is starting to come in towards A, but they did expect it to be the other side. Now, they're going with the Skyle, and the timing here isn't great for them. Secret just misses out on that. And the Jet here, updrafting, I should say, is going to die. Now, that was pretty nice, to be honest, from OnSla2ers, that little trade out. But here's the crucial part, and it happened on the pistol round. It's happening again, right? The Raze is making her way up B, and so what's going to happen is they're going to TP out, and the Raze, well, anytime that this happens, what we just saw there, this first one here should be a free kill, because this person probably only has their knife out, which they did there. Unfortunately, they missed that free kill, and well, there's only 12 seconds left, so all this delaying that they'd done from the start of the round, is going to come back to bite them, as we're about to see, because this is a shocking way to end a round, to be honest. So they're going to try and plant the spike, but what's going to happen is, I think the exact positioning is going to mean that he can't plant. It keeps stopping him from being able to plant. The time is too low, and so even though he just about gets it down, the round is over. It ends. They lose the round because they were too slow. Let's talk about some of the problems that they had, though, in general, because I could go to other rounds as well where this similar kind of thing happened, not to this extreme, but just let's go back in terms of talking about their default and what happened there. So, as I wait for the Twitch thing to load, their default, right? Their idea behind the default is absolutely fine. But does it suit their team comp? And this is something I've talked about with multiple teams. It's not just like any team. It happens across all regions. It happens across all levels as well. I see tier 1 teams do this as well, like some of the best teams in the world, where they have a certain comp, but then the way that they play doesn't necessarily suit that comp. This idea with Neon is nice, but why does this have to be a Raze? I understand that Raze is good for clearing Hooker, but then why is Raze the one that has to, go on this long flank? That could be any agent. That could be literally any agent you want. And is that the best use of a Duelist and a Duelist utility? What was the idea of having this Raze be the one that always comes behind? Why does that suit Raze? And honestly, I don't have the answer for you, because Raze is good at this. Raze is good at getting from here to there. I know that much. So it was a good idea, like, overall, but did it suit the team comp that they had? Why couldn't that just be any other agent that could give you something more than perhaps a triple Duelist? When you think triple Duelist, you think, explode. You think what that other round was, where they did just run in onto site with Spectres and Judges and just went in there. And it worked. That worked. But literally, they only really did that for that round. And the rest of the rounds looked a lot more like this, where the time was running low and they were going, very into this default, very heavy and trying to get these certain kind of things going off. And it didn't really work that well. And I just think, they could have subbed out one of these Duelists for something else that would have given them, perhaps more defensive stability, maybe something like a Sova even, that just gives you that information. If you are playing double Duelist, you get Sova, you get the extra information that you would, or a Viper like the other team did as well. You get those extra smokes, good for the defensive side as well. I do think that they didn't really play to their comp, and this is something that just annoys me. You know, that didn't have to be a Raze that was lurking around the backside. You know, that's meant to be a free kill no matter what agent you're playing. And yeah, I just felt like they had some neat ideas. The execution and kind of the understanding and maybe where they could have gone with this comp wasn't quite what I had hoped for.